Can Rodri be the missing piece for this Real Madrid team to be at the top again? Is he the guy that will fix the midfield problem and be the midfield vocal piece under Jose Mourinho? Because after his performances in the World Cup and him winning the best player of the World Cup, the golden trophy, the golden ball, do I agree with the trophy? Should have Messi, Mbappe got it? That isn't the point of the video. I think Rodri is a good enough player and he was performing good enough to be crowned the best player of the World Cup. That's just my opinion. And Spain, of course, won, so that helps him as well. That's not what we are here to talk about. Is Rodri the one for Real Madrid? Should we be signing him this summer? And for me, there's like 4, maybe 5 key questions, key question marks about this signing, especially if you're signing a player at this age. And we're going to talk about all of them. I think every single one of those questions has their ups and downs with Rodri, and they can be opinionated. They can just be subjective, because how is a player considered, for example, injury prone? How is the contract gonna look like? These are all subjective, because we don't know if Rodri can have a full injury, injuryless season, and we don't know what Real Madrid is gonna offer him as a contract. But we can talk about it, we can speculate, and that's what we are gonna do today. Do I think Rodri is a great player? Sure, we can get this out of the way. The first question, I think, can be the wages and the transfer market fee, what the fee is going to be like and what the wages are going to look like. So that's the first question. The second question we're going to talk about are going to be the injuries and his age, which directly correlate. Third of all, how does he fit the team and how does he fit in the collective? I think they can both be different questions, because in the team, technically, players can fit, sensationally well, but in the dressing room, that can be a whole lot of different, questions with Vinicius and these guys. I don't know how he would fit, honestly. So that can be 2 different questions. Tactically, and how does he fit as a personality into the dressing room? And the 5th question, the final of them all, would be, how does he actually fit into the Jose Mourinho system as a player, as everything, which can be the similar to the tactical one, but I think it's a little bit different under Jose Mourinho. Yes, that is the tactical aspect of the whole club. How does he fit tactically with the other players? But how is Jose Mourinho gonna play him? How is he gonna use him? Because sure, the fans after this World Cup, it's all about, should we sign Rodri? Should we reconsider and go for him? Yes or no? I've seen this many times. It's not just these 2, posts. I've seen this so many times. I'm like, I have to make a video about this. But Rodri is still not in the plans for Real Madrid, and the deal is currently cold. But this is what we have today. Rodri keeps rejecting Manchester City's renewal offer. The player wants to sign for Real Madrid. He has made it very, very clear that he wants to join Real Madrid. And I think that the 5th and final question, if he fits under Jose Mourinho, is a simple one. Yes, he does. What does Mourinho want? It's the mentality, you want to play for the club, you want to give your all for the club, and you want to leave everything on the pitch for Jose Mourinho. I think this is one of the most simplest questions. Jose Mourinho and the number 6 position, he has always had good players there. There are so many names I could mention, but let me just mention, for example, Xabi Alonso and Makelele. Great of the game. Is Rodri better than them? I think so. I think prime Rodri, and even Rodri now, might have a case to be a better 6, in his career than Xabi Alonso and Makelele. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm just being biased towards the modern era of football, and I didn't watch too much of Makelele, to be honest. But Rodri is for sure on the same level, because he is a world-class midfielder, and he might be one of the best midfielders in the world. Sure. So that question is out of the window. Yes. And now for the question of, how does he actually fit? Do we want him as fans? Because it's a much different question if this guy actually fits the narrative of Real Madrid and if he fits the system. The system, I think he fits perfectly, once again. If he plays with Jude, if he plays with Valverde, if he plays even maybe with Tchouaméni. Because Tchouaméni, a lot of people are telling me like, yeah, Tchouaméni should be sold, or we could be playing Tchouaméni alongside Rodri. Whatever happens, guys, I think he fits in with all of them. Bellingham and Valverde are already more of an 8, and Jude Bellingham, let's be honest, is more of a 10 than anything in the midfield. And, Fede Valverde is genuinely, I think Fede Valverde and Rodri could be one of the best midfielder duos in the world. Then you get to the Tchouaméni point, and you can throw in a Camavinga in there as well if he stays at the club. Way more defensively minded, and Rodri is way better on the ball. If Rodri doesn't have a great defensive performance, which he can have, by the way, he's great at recoveries and possession one, but I think Tchouaméni is a little bit better than that at him. He can be the destroyer, and Rodri can be the ball-playing one. If we want to play Rodri as a single pivot in this team and move up Jude Bellingham as an 8, Arda as an 8 or as a 10, whatever, and Fede Valverde as an 8, I'm all for it. Tactically, he fits. Then, do we want him as fans? Do we want him for his personality? Do we want him to, look at this, okay? Does he fit, for example, with all of these players? I know there's Bastoni, whatever. This was just made by some guy on Twitter. Whatever. Let's just act like this is gonna be the team. I don't know if this would be my final 11, but whatever. Let's just entertain it, okay? Does he fit with Jude? Probably. I don't think there's any crazy bad blood between these two. I mean, they lost the Euro final, but whatever. Rodri, I think, got injured in that final as well. Arda Güler, I think there's literally no problem. Fede Valverde, I think there's no problem. Maybe Fede Valverde, like some city goals he celebrated, whatever. Kylian Mbappe, I don't think there's any problem between Rodri and him. Rodri already has great chemistry with Cucurella. They literally have won the World Cup with each other. Rodri and Trent Militao, I think that's like a neutral one. Rodri and Trent will probably have respect with each other. Militao maybe have some, city memories. Courtois, I think, once again, it's gonna be fine. Bastoni, has literally lost the UCL final to Rodri. I don't think there's anything but respect to Rodri because he literally cooked him in the final. You know what I'm talking about, bro. Like, if people don't think that Vinicius and Rodri are a problem with each other in the dressing room, you are delusional. Because if you're telling me that Mbappe and Vinicius are a problem just because they want to do the same thing on the pitch, what about Rodri and Vinicius and the Ballon d'Or situation? What about Rodri, what he did after the Ballon d'Or, mocking Vinicius? What about the City fans mocking Vinicius? And then you get into the relationship with, Rodri and Vinicius from the point of that Rodri is the one that won the Ballon d'Or, and everybody was saying that he robbed Vinicius. Most of the people were saying that he robbed Vinicius. And he's loved by Barcelona fans, let's be honest, guys. Does that, give him more pluses on the side that if he joins us, or is that a negative? I don't know, honestly. I think he fits into the side perfectly well if Vinicius wasn't there. So that question for me is genuinely, I don't know. Because yes, both of them are professional. I would like to hope so, that if Rodri actually joins us, which still isn't like, a high possibility, that Vinicius and Rodri could coexist. But did I think that with Mbappe as well? Yes, I did. And can they? My brother, for the last 2 years, they have not shown me that they can play in the same team. I don't know. And what if the other Brazilians, for example, that respect Vini, have a great relationship with Vini, don't like that Rodri is joining the team? And it once again puts we're just putting the nail in the coffin of having the worst chemistry between the players. Because it's already bad, bro. Like, Tchouaméni is giving punches to Valverde. And then you have the players that want to have Rodri in the team. And then you have the players that don't want Rodri at that team. And there's already new personalities coming in, to the squad with Bernardo Silva, which Bernardo Silva and Rodri might not be too much of friends now. Because if you remember what Rodri did to Bernardo Silva at the World Cup, when Bernardo Silva missed the chance when they played, Portugal and Spain, I honestly don't know, bro. Rodri is a weird brother, man. On the pitch, off the pitch, yeah, he's so humble. He doesn't even have Instagram. This guy is not that nice of a guy, yeah? Let's not forget that. But ultimately, the question is, and the most important question is, because fuck Vini, fuck Rodri, what they have, just win me trophies. Ban the relationships, this and that. What does this guy bring to the team tactically on the pitch? And the most important part, winning trophies. Does he help us? Yes. Is he better than Tchouaméni? Yes. Will he fit into Jose Mourinho's system? Yes. Is he gonna have problems, personality-wise, this and that? We don't fucking care. Yeah? You can fight off the pitch as long as you are good on the pitch. All good. So yes. The last question is his age, which is, I think he's 30 years old now, and he's gonna be 31, and the injury-prone record. Since he has done his UCL, which was, I think, 2 years ago, he missed 223 days with the ACL injury, which was a cruciate ligament injury. Bad injury, which of course, fair enough to him. He has recovered really well, especially on the international side. For City, it has been on and off. But since then, he has also missed like 52 days, for example, with a hamstring injury. He has missed multiple, like 3-week periods with other injuries as well, to his knees, ankle, and the hamstring. And that is a lot of questions if we want to sign a player like this when we already have so many injury problems. So that's a huge negative for me as well. The age, I think, it just has to be a negative, guys. You cannot say, yeah, he's 30, he can give us 3 years. It's still a negative. If you're signing this guy for 60, 40, I think it's acceptable. It's fine. 40 is nothing in this day and age. If they want anything over 60 million for Rodri at this age, and with the injury, problems in mind, because they are there, let's not forget about them. 70, 60, 80 million, I am suddenly so off this deal, and I don't want it to happen. It's incredible. Because I would like to spend more money somewhere else. If I'm gonna be completely honest, guys, if he's genuinely over 60 million, I don't think it's worth it. And you can cook me in the comments. You can be like, yeah, but do you want Tchouaméni to stay? Maybe I just trust in him to do better. What if Rodri comes to the club? Everybody is, so happy with him. He gets injured for for 60 days, as he did for City. He misses like 100 days with injury. Then, on the other hand, I understand people saying, what if he gives us like 6 great months, some great performances in the UCL, and helps us win, for example, La Liga or UCL? And then once again, you are just giving me something completely different, that this can all happen. So genuinely, guys, if you now had to decide with all of that in mind, the injuries, the wages, the money he would cost us, because we don't know. But if you just had to guess and put that all together, Rodri to Real Madrid, yes or no? Right now, my decision is still a no, because the negatives for me still outweigh the positives. Once again, if Real Madrid comes out and says, we want Rodri, 1,000,000% we want him now, and we will spend about 50 million on him, and, the wage is going to be just in the middle of the park. He's going to be, top 10 paid players. I think that's fair enough. And 50 million for a midfielder of this caliber, even at this age, isn't bad. If it's, 75, 80 million, and then I'm going to be asking myself questions. Really? Is a player of that age worth this much in this day and age? It might just be, guys. Honestly. Right now, I'm going to say that Rodri shouldn't be signing for Real Madrid because of the prices like 70, 75 million. That's what I'm seeing now. But if it's less than 60 million, we can get him on a normal wage. I think as a player, he fits the system. It's just about the money situation and what would be happening with the personalities and Vinicius and this and that. Because genuinely, guys, if you told me now, Vinicius is going to leave this club, we're going to sell him for, way more than 100 million, and we're going to sign Rodri and Michael Olise for this team, I'm signing that paper right now. But do I think Vinicius is going to leave this club and, it's going to have no problem with Rodri joining Real Madrid? I don't know. Honestly, this can genuinely be one of the best signings we have ever made, or it can genuinely be the nail in the coffin for this group of players as personalities and as a team. Because we have to remember what happened in the last 2 years. It was all about individuals and everybody fighting each other, the manager fighting the players, because there was no cohesion. So does Rodri make it even worse? I don't know, you let me down below in the comments. I wouldn't sign Rodri as of now, but if the term changes and we can sign him for a little bit less money and we have some guarantee, the wage is not going to be too crazy, and we can manage the negatives with the positives, you can go ahead and sign him. And if he gets injured, we can say, well, whatever, at least we tried, we didn't spend too much money. And if it's 80 million and we sign him, he gets injured, the wage is crazy, my opinion is a lot different. So let me know down below your opinion. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know I waffled a little bit at the end. But yeah, Rodri to Real Madrid. What do we think? I will see you next one. Peace out.